Welcome to my review of the 2019 Kia Niro plug-in hybrid. You join me today in this wonderful park in Wimbledon. So, back to the car. This car is nothing controversial. It's of a normal style. It's a crossover style. It might be classed as a mini SUV, but it really isn't. So, it's just basic crossover, although insurance does class it as an estate. It's only front-wheel drive. It doesn't have four-wheel drive, and it's a decent-looking car. I have to say, it's nothing too extravagant, nor is it too ugly. So let's take an in-depth look at this car. Starting with the headlights, we have projection headlights with a halogen bulb inside. These aren't LEDs, which can be disappointing for some as they aren't as efficient, but they're just as bright, and they're probably far easier to replace in the long run as compared to LED light units. But yes, they're nice and bright. Underneath that, we can see a white side light, which looks great at night, and we have the indicator bulb. Moving below, we find the daytime running lights and the fog lights. Let me show you what the daytime running lights are. Just give me one moment. Please click here to subscribe and press the bell icon to be notified of my new uploads. Here we have the daytime running lights on now. As you can see, they're pretty normal. They're quite bright. You can also see some blue accents at the bottom. This is to signify this is a plug-in hybrid and not the normal hybrid model. We have a sort of tiger nose grille here, which is plastic. The top half is shut, but this part here goes through, so that's open there. Below that, we have some more air vents. And we also have the radar guided cruise control box here. We have some normal plastic covered wheels. They're not technically alloys, so they're not covered under the alloy wheel cover from Kia, which is quite annoying, so I wish they were. Here is where we find the charge port for the car. It's a Type 2 charger, and we have a nice little LED light there just to illuminate it in the dark. And you can only open it when the car is unlocked, and the charger locks into the car as well when you lock the car. Have some nice indicator lights on the wing mirrors. We have chrome handles. We have a chrome strip running along the bottom as well. We have heavily tinted rear windows, and we have the fuel cap. To note, obviously I didn't mention this before, these are 16-inch wheels. Coming to the back of the car, which I really like, we have some nice LED lights. We have our reversing lights just here, and once again we have these chrome accents with a blue strip as well, which signifies plug-in hybrid. And this is the badge to signify this is a plug-in hybrid. This says just hybrid on the normal one, but I mean there's nothing too special, nothing extravagant. We also have the rear reverse camera. This is a good angle, as you can clearly see the back of the car, so it's hard to hit a car when you're reversing, but this does get dirty quite easily. Let's just open the boot up. Here is the boot of the Niro plug-in hybrid. Opens nice and wide, as you can see here, for easy access. Talking about loading into the boot, sorry. There is a bit of a load lip here, but it's not too bad, and there is some plastic here to protect. On the left hand side, we have a subwoofer, which does take in a bit of space that you sort of have with the model without a subwoofer. This sort of is in, but it's fine. We can see we have some tethering points here, and we have a nice grasshopper in our car as well. We also have a nice filament bulb, and underneath this floor space here, we have a space to keep the charger. One of the chargers. This car comes with two chargers. It comes with this, which is the 3-pin socket charger, which I don't recommend using, and it comes with a Type 2 charger. We have a time utility kit and just some wheel locking bolts in there as well. If you remove this whole cover, you can find the battery of the car. So this does eat into boot space, because I can't keep it under the seat, but this is the 8.9 kilowatt hour battery. The floor just easily slots into place, and here we have the parcel shelf. You simply pull it around and hook it on. There you go. It's a bit flimsy, but it's pretty effective. So yes, we also have To note, this is where the 12-volt battery is for the car, so if you need to jump start it, which you probably won't because this charges when you plug in the car, this is where you find it. Just give you a full out view of the side of the car. It's very nice here from the back angle. And now let's just have a look at the rear. Opening the doors is quite easy. It's a nice solid door handle, and the doors open nice and wide, as you can see, for easy access. Let's just step in. Okay, now that you're in, let's have a look in the rear of this car. So the rear is a fairly decent, nice place to be. The seat is set up for a 5'5" driver. It's fully up. There's plenty of space underneath the seat, as you can see. And there's plenty of knee room, so people well over 6 foot will be comfortable in here. There's also a lot of headroom, as these seats are quite low down, which brings me to one criticism of this car, which is the seats are quite low down. So if you're a child, as you can see here, it's actually really hard to see out the window. Right, having a look at this, we have a nice metal-like door handle. So opens nice and solidly. We have this glossy black finish here. We have some nice stitching here. On this, I think, is leatherette armrest, which is very soft. We have a little pocket here to keep whatever you'd like to keep in there. We have a very small door bin for just a little bottle, maybe a 500ml bottle. We have a nice big JBL speaker here. It's scratchy plastic, not soft touch, but it's alright. People complain about this. Does it really matter? No. They have to save costs somewhere. Moving across, we have 2 rear vents. However, we have an absence of a USB charger in the back, which I think is very disappointing, as you're likely going to have kids if you have this car, and if you have nowhere to charge their devices, it's pretty difficult. It's going to be a pretty hard, long journey. The seats themselves are nice and comfortable. They are quite reclined. You cannot move them forward in terms of, so you can't recline them back or forward. Have some ISOFIX points just under there, which are quite hard to reach. And we also have a nice leather soft armrest with 2 cup holders, which is really nice to just rest your arms a lot. If you want to fold down the seats, pull this toggle down and the seat basically collapses. There's quite a large load area where the seats collapsed. We have manual adjustment for the passenger seat, and we have some Nero doormats here. The glove box is a fairly small size, so you really won't fit more than the manual in here. As you can see, the Nero is a pretty nice place to be, actually. So let's just have a look around. So we have a semi-digital gauge cluster. This screen here is a 4.2-inch screen, which is digital. We have the battery indicator and how much petrol we have left in, obviously, because this is the plug-in hybrid. Let's switch the car and then listen to just jingles this car makes. So that's a goodbye jingle. That is a welcome in jingle. As you can see, this needle moves to this position to show the car is ready. This shows if it's in electric or if it's in electric mode, and this just means the car is ready to go. This needle moves, obviously, so for most economical driving, you want it to be in this thick part here of the eco range. Once you're going to power, the engine does kick on automatically. And we also have a slightly customizable screen here, but not really much, so you can sort of see your driving style, your overall fuel economy. You can see a compass for navigation, turn-by-turn instructions. You can see the tire pressure and the status of the lane departure system, and also some different menus here. This car comes with lane departure warning system, lane keep assist system as well. We have stability control. This is a virtual engine sound due to EU regulations, and this is basically a switch off schedule charging or keep it on automatic mode. Plastic here for the window switches. Only the front passenger and the front driver's seat windows are fully automatically opening. The rear ones you have to hold it down, but I guess this is how they've kept the costs down. I'm glad that we have some manual buttons here. So this is for the climate control. You can see the temperature up here. The AC is really powerful, even in electric only mode. We have
two 12-volt sockets here. We have an auxiliary port and a USB port. This is the one for if you're using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Moving up, we have some nice shortcut buttons here. And this is the overall screen. This is the home screen. It's nicely divided into two. And we have a few menus here. We can just sort of see our overall fuel economy, the battery percentage, left. You can see the range of the EV, which I think is great. And just a few other options like charge settings and things like that. We also have DAB radio in here, and we have navigation, which is powered by TomTom. So if you connect up your phone's hotspot, it'll use the internet for basically traffic information. It's quite a good system, but I prefer using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You have a customizable button. You can set it to whatever you want. I've set it for Android Auto. It's great because you can use Waze in the car. It's slightly better than the in-car navigation system. Overall, the infotainment system isn't the best in the world, but it's usable by everyone, including young and old people, and it's fully functional as well. So, yeah, it's really easy and pretty self-explanatory to use. We also have a wireless charging mat here for your mobile phone. We have Parktronic, front and rear Parktronics, and this is where button to switch them on. This switches between electric and hybrid mode. And we also have a nice heated steering wheel, absolutely fabulous during the winter. And we have heated front seats with 3 levels. I'd recommend keeping on one because it gets quite toasty. We have 2 normal sized cup holders here. And we also have, it just comes with this sort of ashtray holder thing which can be removed. Good place for keeping some keys actually. A small place here with a grip, maybe for some keys or some coins. And sorry for the mess, but we also have we just have a fast charging USB port in there. This is a pretty decent size box here, so you can store a few things in there, including a bottle. Talking about storage, we have decent sized door bins here. You can keep a 500ml bottle in, maybe a book or something. We have a nice big JBL speaker system in this car. The steering wheel also has some controls on it, including for the cruise control as well. Things I like about this car: the JBL 8-speaker stereo system in here is really powerful and full of bass, excellent for any genre of music you want to listen to. We have an 8-way power adjustable driver's seat. The AC works solely off the electric mode and is really powerful, so you won't use any petrol at all to keep the AC on. This car normally gets the full 36 miles indicated on the battery. Seats and heated steering wheel are great in the winter, and it helps maximize efficiency by keeping the heater slightly lower. The smart cruise control in this car is amazing. It's very responsive. We also get a rear camera, which is not the highest of definitions, but these lines do move as you turn the wheel, and that is excellent for when you're trying to park. It's a nice little slot here for you to store your seatbelt, so it doesn't get caught when you take the seat up and down, which is a great little touch. Mirrors automatically fold when you lock the car, meaning that no one's going to knock them off. The average fuel economy in this car is 999 miles per gallon, and this car will easily cruise at 50 or 70 miles an hour in electric only mode on the motorway. Switching on the heating in this car switches on the engine, because this car doesn't come with an electric heater, which is quite disappointing for a plug-in hybrid. Lane keep assist system bounces you between the white lines rather than keeping you in the middle of the lane, so it's pretty much useless and pretty dangerous to use on a motorway. Parking brake, foot operated parking brake, is pretty outdated now in a car like this, and really should be electronic by this stage. Lack of USB ports in the back makes long journeys with kids quite difficult, as they will have nowhere to charge up their iPad or something like that. Plastic wheel caps do scratch quite easily, and Kia offer no cover for these, so you're going to have to fork out if you do scratch them. This is quite solid, and there's not much padding here, and it doesn't move forward or backwards, only up and down, so it's not the most convenient and it's not the most comfortable either. The Niro plug-in hybrid is pretty normal, off noting. This here is important. For example, if your charger gets stuck, you simply pull this to release the locking mechanism in the charger. The engine makes this weird hum when it's on, as well. However, it's pretty normal looking. But we have a 1.6 litre petrol engine, which is not too efficient. You will probably get about 50 miles a gallon out of it, and you have an 8.9 kilowatt hour battery.
Overall, first impressions from driving is that it's a very smooth and relaxing place to be. Since you bought the plug-in hybrid, most of your driving is probably going to be in electric only mode around town, and this car really does excel here. Acceleration in this car is very slow, as you only have a 30 horsepower electric motor and you have about a 103 horsepower petrol engine. But if you're trying to accelerate in electric only mode, it does take a while, but that's obviously because of the small size of the motor, and since your drive is relaxing in this car, I don't think it really matters. This is not a sports car, this is not an exciting car, this is a smooth family car that you use to go around town or go on some long trips. Talking about road noise, you do hear some road noise in electric only mode. This is mainly because the combustion engine is off, so it's pretty silent, so you will hear the general road noise. Insulation is alright. I mean, it's not on the level of a high-end luxury car, but it's not too loud. Wind noise is also kept to a minimum, and I think that's mainly because of the low drag coefficient of this car. The brakes are just quite different actually in this car as compared to normal cars. You do notice the difference between regenerative braking and normal braking, but obviously because you can charge up the car by braking, this car does have that regenerative braking system, which is only one level, and you are sort of encouraged to coast in this car, and that will put some charge back into the battery, and lightly brake over time. Again, that will charge up the battery, and you will notice yourself getting a few more miles whilst doing this. So it's okay, I have tried to make this car as normal as possible for people switching over to plug-in hybrids. They've done this by also running the electric motor through the 6-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. It's alright. I'm not the biggest fan of it as compared to other plug-in hybrids which only have one gear for electric only mode, but it's fine and it's quite smooth. However, one criticism is that when you're in combustion mode, the gear changes are less smooth, and also the engine noise is really loud. The steering in this car is quite light and very nice as well. So as you can see, when you're going to go around this roundabout, it's really easy to just steer around, and because it's light you could probably only use one hand, but I mean it's fine with two hands as well. But yeah, it's very smooth as you can see. And talking about suspension now, we're going to go over some bumps, and it's quite smooth. I mean, it's not hard, but it's not super soft and wafty either, but that's probably because of the weight of the electric battery as well. But you know, it's a decent ride over any surface, and I'm not complaining about it either. What I love about this car is its tight turning circle. So along this mini roundabout, we're going to have absolutely no issues going all the way around it and without having to reverse. So it's a great little turning circle which makes life a lot easier around town. Let's now accelerate up a hill to show you the performance once again. And you know, I'm being a bit less efficient here by letting my needle go high into the eco range, more into the power range, and it does accelerate and it's able to cope with a hill as well, which is totally fine. So, you know, giving my overall views of this car, I love this car. It's a great little family car. This is not a car, for example, this is not a Maserati or Ferrari, something like that. You're looking at the wrong car if you want performance. It does the job very nicely. You just basically sit back and relax whilst driving this car. Its autonomous features aren't the best, so apart from the radar guided cruise control, you probably should control the steering. But on long journeys it does make life a lot easier, and I recommend this car to anyone. Talking about which one to buy, they've just recently launched the 2020 Kia Niro plug-in hybrid. However, it is a lower spec than this car, but apart from some few aesthetic things like the new 10-inch display, I really don't see the point behind buying the new one, as it's not as good looking and the price is $1,000 higher, but the specs are lower. So if I were you, I would maybe try and find this plug-in hybrid second hand. You can probably find them around £26,000 with about 3,000 miles on the clock, so I'd recommend that as compared to buying the new ones. But again, the choice is personal. over this bumpy road, you can see, whilst I end this test, it's coping very well with this. But yes, those are my overall thoughts, and I think you really should buy this car if you are looking for a plug-in hybrid, as you really can't do much better for the price you get and the specs you get. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe for more car reviews. I hope you enjoyed the video.